has been to fertilize prosperity for today and to sow the seeds of progress for our nation 10 years from now. Every budget we delivered, every investment we attracted, every infrastructural project we approved, and those we re-engineered are meant for our children, our future, our St. Lucia. The United Workers' Party. Let's keep working. Over the past...
Right, a special good night to all our viewers on Caribbean American News Media Platform. We are live on Facebook. Sorry, we are live on YouTube. We're not on GVD TV tonight. But greetings, friends. I encourage you to join us. Share the live as you come in. Yes, please. It's very important that you share the live. We did experience some issues with the Facebook feed. So we are over on YouTube and it will be rebroadcast on our Facebook channel. We do apologize for that technical issue that we're working on very swiftly. All right. So thank you again for being here with us. Caribbean American News Media. It is 8:10 p.m. And folks, I must say to you that I am not the best tonight. I had an operation on Friday, and I am not able to walk fully as yet. And I decided that I was going to be here with you, my people. I am still recovering. It is just a few days since the operation. So I'm happy to be here with you. And we have a special guest tonight, and that is the Honorable Senator Dominic Fede. We will discuss CIP tonight. It's going to be informative, and I would advise you to share the live, share it as much as you can with your friends, your loved ones, and even the hacks. Invite the hacks, folks, to join us on the platform. But it's good to be here with you tonight. Most of you friends would have viewed the clip, the video, I would say, that was put out there by the government of St. Lucia concerning the lawsuit, the MSR lawsuit. And then there's a whole set of stuff that is missing in the debate, and tonight we're going to add the missing pieces together. All right. So let's bring on our guests, folks, without any further delay. With me is the Honorable Fede. We saw him today at the press conference, very busy, leaving there for a meeting, and there's a lot going on, friends. I want to let you know that your United Workers' Party leaders are working on your behalf, and it is not easy. And so I encourage you, friends, as much as you can to support the United Workers' Party and their leadership there in St. Lucia. At this time, I want to welcome Senator Dominic Fede to the platform, and it is a pleasure to have you. I believe it's the first time, but it is good to be here to have you on the platform. So I'm going to hand over to you, Doc, and then we will get into the CIP situation there in St. Lucia.
Garfield, thank you so very much for having me. I hope you can hear me very clearly.
Yes, we can.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you on this Caribbean News Media. I want to thank you for your own contribution towards bringing information and truth to light. Very, very crucial, the role that you play in shaping democracies all over the world, because you use social media in such an effective way that I must commend you. And I have seen a lot of your work. I'm a big fan of your work. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. And so, folks, that was the Honorable Fede. Now we're going to get into the bouillon of the matter. All right, let me just get my camera turned the other way. Just bear with me, folks. Bear with me 1 minute. Again, we invite you to share the live with your friends, families, and your favorite hack, of course. All right, so let's get to work, Brother Fede. Please share the live, folks, as much as you can. And remember, please have mercy on me tonight. I'm not at my best. I am still in a lot of pain. I am heavily medicated at this time, and I am going to be here as long as I can so that we can bring the information to you, our people. All right. So, CIP, Mr. Fede, we have seen a whole set of drama, just bust on the island there, on social media, on the regular media, international media, especially St. Kitts and Nevis. We heard of the MSR lawsuit, the RICO lawsuit that was brought against some former officials in St. Kitts and Nevis, and also Galaxy, the Galaxy company which operates in St. Lucia. Tell us, Mr. Fede, what is happening? What is going on? The people are confused. Mr. Martinez said one thing to us, the government says something else, and the opposition is saying, hold your horses. Tell the people the full story, not half-truths, some information. Tell them everything so that at least they can understand, because a lot of St. Lucians are confused about this whole I would say melee that the government of St. Lucia is getting themselves wobbled up in. So what is happening? First of all, let me ask you this question. I want to ask you this question. I wrote it down. What part does the United Workers' Party has to play in this MSR lawsuit? Are you all part of this lawsuit? Did you guys encourage Mr. Martinez to go to the United States and file cases against Galaxy and St. Kitts?
That's absolute crap, and that's being put forward by a very desperate opposition. I think that the opposition knows that this is a serious matter, and they're in a lot of trouble, and so they're trying desperately to try to get out of it. And what better way than to blame your political opponents, blame everybody else, blame Chasney, blame UWP, blame Martinez, blame politics, blame conspiracy. So it is very unfortunate how the government has responded so far. Their own recklessness and their reckless behavior in responding to this has added to the confusion and the misinformation. What I want to say to you is that I watched the Minister of CIP, Ernest Hilaire, who I thought had a very good opportunity to allay any fears that the public may have as it pertains to this rather perplexing issue. I mean, people are worried about whether we're still going to have visas to the EU.
Yeah.
They're worried about whether we're still going to be able to go to places like Martinique. They're worried about how difficult it could become to get visas to go to the United States. They're worried about how difficult it could become to get visas to go to places like Canada, and whether we're going to lose our visa-free access to the UK, as Sister Island in the Caribbean, Dominica, just did just a few months ago. And all of those questions are looming large. We're seeing increased publicity about various CIP unsavory characters who have been either deported or arrested or imprisoned for a multiplicity of fraudulent behavior. And while all of this is happening, here comes a scandal of international proportions. And if you ask me, to my mind, this is the worst scandal we've had since independence in 1979.
Wow.
And not understanding the gravity of that situation and what role the government needs to play in terms of leading the country, to me, is very unfortunate, and it has worsened this crisis. So Hilaire, instead of telling us the real truth and opening and being transparent and be comprehensive in terms of information sharing, he went into the usual political style. He came and deflected and blamed the UWP. A lot of people remain suspicious about him choosing to go the way of an address to the nation and not, for example, going to a press conference and to have people to ask the pertinent questions. He could have been in a press conference, give an address, and allow media practitioners like yourself to actually ask him the pertinent questions that we need to know. So the United Workers' Party has taken the view we're not here to rush to judgment or to pass any blame or to take sides. But what we are here to do is to play an effective role as an opposition to make sure that the right questions are asked, that the government is honest to the people, that the government is transparent, and that there's a free flow of information coming forward to the public so that the public can form proper judgments on very important issues of national development. Now, this is the opportunity that Hilaire had, but he totally squandered it. What Hilaire didn't say about the CIP program is that every single CIP developer or investor would first enter into a negotiation phase. And in that negotiation phase, Garfield, so let's take, for example, Galaxy and the hotel at Canals. What would happen is that Galaxy would say, I am willing to spend this much building a hotel. How many passports will you, the government, give us to do that? So before there's any selling of one passport, the government agrees to a quota. There's a ceiling. There's a limited amount in the contract that is allocated for various development projects.
And under the United Workers' Party, did you guys issue passport access to Galaxy?
I am coming to that.
Okay,
and
good.
you will see how this has fundamentally changed. But I think it's important that we establish the steps.
Yep.
And so now the first step is how many passports a government will allocate to a specific developer for a program. The second thing is the application. The developer then agrees with the government. This is the amount that the project is going to be worth, and the government agrees with the developer. These are how many passports you're going to sell.
Right.
Second phase is the developer goes out, sell these passports, but they have to stay within the limit in the contract as prescribed by the government of the day. Okay? The last phase is the approval phase, when you have passports at varying stages of approval. So you may have 5,000 passports or 5,000 applications, but only 1,367 might be approved or completed. Okay. So for varying reasons, just as when you and I go and we try to apply for a passport, maybe we have a deed poll and they need more information as to why you are using Charles instead of Matre. Maybe you didn't send your divorce certificate and they're wondering, why do you go by your maiden name instead of this name? And so for a number of reasons, you can have delays in a passport application. Hilaire did not tell us that how many applications were made on the hotel project. So we know there's a hotel project at Canals started by the UWP, which, by the way, looks very different from the agreement that Hilaire gave us a little snippet in, and I'll show you how different it was. When Galaxy came to St. Lucia, Garfield, the United Workers' Party agreed on the following. A, Galaxy will be allowed to sell 700 applications.
700.
700. Which would then amount to 210 million US dollars, or 60% of the cost. Are you with me so far?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
The additional 40%, Galaxy had to go out in the open market and find the financing. And that would have amounted to $140 million.
Oh,
So
so
210
Galaxy,
million.
their responsibility was what? A hundred, what did you say? Repeat.
They had to, our responsibility was to furnish Galaxy with 700
Seven
passports,
hundred, right?
which would amount to
210,
210 million US dollars.
right?
Because on the UWP, it was $300,000 per passport.
Oh wow, that's
Today, it is 200,000 in the real estate component. So the Labour Party, since coming into office, they have reduced the price of the real estate applications.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, so here we have Galaxy on the UWP had to come up with 40% of the cost of the project. Very important to note. Yeah.
Right.
Because we felt, Garfield, that when a developer in the real estate option comes and sells our passport, what that developer is selling is our sovereignty.
That's right.
The money effectively belongs to St. Lucia and St. Lucians. And so what we thought is that we needed a real partnership. We did not want an outright position where we would have seen that Galaxy would have sold 100% of the financing that they need from our passports. So we say, look, we are willing to back you up with 60%, but you have to come with the other 40%, bring your own money in. Are you with me?
Right. So they were
Yeah.
not just coming in and we are
No.
financing everything for them. They had to come up with some part of the money.
Correct.
Has that
Which,
changed?
which we don't know. And that's why I'm saying to you that Hilaire has squandered a really good opportunity
Yes.
to level with the people of St. Lucia, to tell them what the facts are. So in that address, I expected him to say, when the Labour Party came into office, this is what we met. The UWP signed a contract with Galaxy, and Galaxy were allowed to sell 700 passports. And that would amount to 210 million, and Galaxy had to raise 40% of the total cost.
Right.
He never said that.
No, he
He
didn't.
went on to tell you that under the real estate, that while there were 2004 real estate applicants in total, that 1,367 of those applications were for Galaxy. So we moved from 700 on the UWP to almost 1,400 on the Labour. So Ernest Hilaire, by his own admission, has said to us that the Labour Party has doubled the amount of passports that Galaxy
Galaxy.
could have sold in comparison to what the United Workers' Party allowed them to do.
But what is the cost of the project that they were undertaking?
The cost of the project was in the range of 350 million US dollars. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So he never said to you that the 7 or the 6,000 number raised by Martinez is wrong, but he was just talking about how many applications were completed. So when he said we have approved, but he never said that we have a backlog or we have pending these many applications. That completes the story.
That's right. So for instance, I'm sure that one application might
Or 2 could be anything.
could be anything. Yes, could be 6 in a family, 4.
Correct.
So we still, so Mr. Hilaire did his presentation, and still the people of St. Lucia, we are still left in the dark because he have
still
not
left-
denied Mr. Matina's figures, not denied
No.
at all, said nothing
Not at
basically
all.
about it, but
But what we know
claimed,
in his PR stunt, he has exposed himself
that's
by
right.
showing the country that he has doubled the amount of passports that the United Workers' Party had originally signed the contract with Galaxy with. That's it. That's
But
the crux of the
I would
matter.
love to know why it was increased.
And bear in mind, I'm using the word at least. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that he is only, because the 1,367 is not the end of the story. And only Mr. Hilaire can tell us how many more passports under the Galaxy Real Estate Development is under review by the board. That's what we need to know.
So let me
And,
ask you.
and then clearly, the contract from the UWP has changed. Does Galaxy, are they still required to put anything in? Are they still required to raise any monies? Are they still required to go to a bank and try to get a loan? Are they still required to come up with 40%? Clearly not. So then you have to ask yourself, if one government said that the developer had to come up with 40% of the money, why would another government change it to a lesser good deal
Right,
to the
this is
people?
worse.
You got to ask yourself. And already, Mr. Hilaire, just by saying it, right, has exposed himself by showing that his government has undertaken a very bad deal with Galaxy as it pertains to the hotel.
Yep.
Now, Garfield, I have not gone into the infrastructure program yet. That's another scandal by itself. And when I go into the infrastructure program, you will be shocked by what are some of the things I have to say about that.
So the infrastructure program, that is a new component to the CIP.
Correct. So today on the press conference, I read a memo which indicated, the memo was dated February 1, and it was to agents, promoters, and marketeers of the St. Lucia CIP program. And what was indicated to those people was that this infrastructure program will be launched as of the 5th of February. This is very different from what Hilaire said on to the nation. And that launching, according to the CIP board, was launched then. We have documents to show that the government sold passports below the legal value in the infrastructure program as early as January. Are you with me?
I mean,
And I want to say this to Mr. Hilaire: dare me, and we will expose the information. Are you with me?
yes, I
Garfield?
mean, so
Yeah.
so you
But then
came
it comes
across a
up-
document
Yes, a memo.
indicating
I read it to the press today.
that they were already in business.
Yes. From January. And it was sold below 100,000. Now, let's go back to the crux of the infrastructure matter.
Yes, I'm interested in
The,
that.
the CIP, Hilaire, sorry, to the nation, told us this. That the other component that Galaxy had signed up for was the infrastructure component. This is a whole different ballgame, not to be confused with the real estate or the hotel in Canals,
Right.
right? The hotel in Canals, Hilaire said in the program, they've only completed 1,367 applications. Okay? However, there could be a lot more. Now, I am inclined to believe Martinez, because Martinez said this is what was allocated, this is what you gave Galaxy to sell.
And Martinez is speaking based on what he's saying Mr.
This
Emmanuel
information
told.
from Emmanuel, and Emmanuel never denied.
Never denied.
Emmanuel put out a press release to say he never implicated Hilaire.
Yeah.
And that's not for me to decide. The courts will decide whether the information he
That's
gave
right.
to Martinez has implicated Hilaire or not. That's not for us.
No.
However, Emmanuel never denied. But going to the infrastructure, Hilaire said on this address to the nation that Galaxy is expected to come up with $100 million. Did he tell you, Garfield? And I know you watched it. Did he ever tell you what Galaxy is expected to get from the government?
No.
Why?
I'm speechless.
So you are an investor. You will just put up $100 million for free. Yeah? According to Hilaire, who didn't find it necessary to share with us how many passports did he agree that Galaxy can sell. Now, he has said that under the infrastructure, they have not sold any. That's a lie. However, what I want to say to you, Garfield, is that what was missing is how many passports under the infrastructure agreement has the government agreed with Galaxy to sell. Martinez said that Emmanuel MacLeod told him that the number was 7,000 passports.
Whoa.
7,000. With that happening, if I were the minister, Garfield, I would have felt that I needed to do a comprehensive job to explain to the people of St. Lucia the whole process, that when a developer comes into the country, that developer must first negotiate, sit down with the government, you sign a contract. And when that contract is signed, then the developer is given a certain amount of passport that they can sell, the allocation component of the development. And then I would feel it necessary to tell the nation that under the infrastructure, these are how many applications we have received. Is it 20? Is it 40? And I would feel it necessary to say, we have completed approval of so many of these applications, and these many are pending applications, so that the people of St. Lucia can have all the information they require. I would have spent less time blaming Shasney, as the minister has ridiculously done.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this, that the minister has deliberately left out the information because the minister knows that he's in hot water. That when the people of St. Lucia, and they already are strongly convinced, the numbers which are circulating, that the total number is 1,300 applicants that the government has agreed with Galaxy over 2 programs. This is a scandal of international proportions, especially with the real estate component, given the fact that the United Workers' Party had allowed Galaxy to sell 700 passports. How did we get to 1,367?
Right. From
Did the
7.
government of St. Lucia remove the 40% requirement for Galaxy to come up with its own money? This is a scandal. And
Mr.
the minister explained why would the government do that?
And Mr. Fede, the cost, the pricing, we saw, as you said, we saw a decrease. So there's an increase of application, and then you have a decrease in the cost of the passports. Have you any information on the actual cost that people paid out there for this passport?
The information is, and the minister said, and this is another sore point of the minister's speech, and I want people to listen. And sometimes, because it is us, the opposition, that's leading the charge in really asking for answers, people believe it's politics, but it's not.
Yeah.
You have to take these facts as they are. The minister said that he is aware, and every time the CIP unit had become aware that there were agents who were underselling or marketing the program below the legal price, that they wrote memos and they put out press releases. Memos and press releases? Are you kidding me? No legal action, no disciplinary action, no sanctioning to say that you are suspended for the time being from being an agent for the St. Lucia program, to send a clear message to
I was surprised that he exposed himself that way in saying to the St. Lucian people that, yes, we found out that they were underpricing, and we send out memos. I mean, this is criminal, of course.
This is absolutely shameful and disgraceful. This is the minister ought to lose his job. He is a custodian of good governance in our country. He's a parliamentarian, a legislator that passed laws. He stood in the parliament while I was there, and together we amended the CIP Act. Yes, we were on different side, but at least we as parliamentarians, we have to make sure we uphold those laws, that we go to the parliament and we debate and we pass. There's no point of those laws if we as policymakers don't intend to keep those laws. And
That's
the
right.
minister has clearly violated the principles of good governance. And for that alone, he should be sacked. He should resign forthwith,
And
because he has not handled the integrity. He has exposed our entire nation.
Yeah.
He has exposed our entire banking system, because some of these illegal transactions were wired through the US banking system. And this is where it becomes tricky. I am not sure what action the United States government is going to take. But then what it did now is that it opened up an opportunity for someone to now sue us for money laundering and for fraud. And that's what that is.
And-
So when they tell you that they have never met Martinez, when they tell you that they don't know Martinez, you don't have to know someone, or you don't have to meet them for them to recognize that your inaction makes you complicit to a law that has disadvantaged them. And in this case, it is money laundering.
and
It is fraud.
I believe the Prime
And so
Minister,
while the-
Dominic, I believe the Prime Minister, when he said to us that he don't know what is happening, I believe that this job is too much for him, because the Prime Minister went on national television and called Mr. Martinez a criminal friend of Alan Chastney. And we should not even pay attention to this criminal, because the guy's a fraudster. And they don't know the guy. This is not real. It is one businessman with a problem with another businessman, and it happens all the time. Now, today, I am hearing a totally different story from the Prime Minister. He's saying it's in the courts. The courts will make a decision. And I thought it was just between two businessmen. What has
Oh, so
changed?
you think the visit by McLeod, perhaps, to Washington, and maybe he has received a lot of the damning information shared to him by Martinez, and he may have relayed that to Philip J. Perry. Is my own suspicion, and now I think he's beginning to understand the gravity of this matter, the severity of this international scandal.
Because he
This
said today he's
really
not
is-
going to say anything further on it. He's going to allow it to go through the courts. But then Mr. Hilaire said in his statement to the people of St. Lucia that they have already instructed their lawyers to remove Mr. Emmanuel's name from the lawsuit. I am not sure if Mr. Pear understand or Hilaire understand how the American system works. You just go to a lawyer's office and say move the name, and the name is removed. Everything is okay, and we go home happy.
I think what Hilaire understands well is that there is the court of law, and there's also the court of public opinion. And what he is doing is that he is deflecting.
Yeah.
He is trying to make people believe, he's trying to undermine the lawsuit. It's like Donald Trump,
Yeah.
who says, they're weaponizing the justice system against me. They have thousands of dead people who voted. And that is, you don't need to prove, you need evidence in the court of public opinion. And Hilaire is certainly abusing the privileges that he has as a government minister. He is abusing the less suspecting St. Lucian who remain in the main confused about this whole matter. And he's playing on that. So for me, I wish him good luck, and maybe Garfield, the next time you speak to him, ask him to give you an update. And I look forward. I wish him good luck in getting the name of McLeod Emmanuel off the list. I mean,
I think he should
Hilaire
worry
might-
about getting his name off, not Emmanuel. Because his
Exactly.
name is also being added. But he
That's
said
correct.
only Emmanuel's name that is going to be removed.
and that is the guy, who will lie through his teeth, who will not level with the people of St. Lucia. So
Yeah.
for me, the address was very disappointing. It was typical
was.
Hilaire, true to form, and really, I think it has not done any good to this crisis. He has really worsened this crisis.
He has worsened,
and
yes.
I think the people of St. Lucia are not less in the dark than they were before the address. We could have done without the address.
But let me ask
But-
you, DSH, he tries to tie Chasney as much as he could into this MSR CIP scandal. And he's saying that you guys, we can't find the monies or any arrangement for the DSH with the CIP money. What is going on there with Hilaire? What is he saying?
Hilaire knows pretty well that not a single passport was sold under the DSH program.
But he said he's
Yeah,
looking and he couldn't find any.
These are all lies. These are all Labour Party propaganda. The St. Lucia Labour Party stands for secrets, lies, and propaganda. That's what SLP stands for. And, to have your deputy prime minister take all of us for granted, take our country for granted, and put his friends' business interests first. And this is what this is all about. Him putting the business interests of certain lawyers in the country first before he think about our freedoms. I mean, Hilaire going to jail or being arrested, that doesn't solve anything. What's going to happen to all of us after action would have been taken to him, if any at all? And that is the issue. And the bigger point is that after this, can we still be a nation that is trusted by the European Union to travel to their respective jurisdictions visa-free? Can we still be a nation that will gain the respect of the UK that has just recently removed visa-free access to Dominica? Are we going to be able to sustain that after this scandal? Are we going to be able as a nation to continue to get US and Canadian and other visas with the ease that we do now? Already it is cumbersome for many St. Lucians to get those, but those of us who are able to get them, what will this do to our freedom, our ability to move around the world, to do business, to go away to university, to visit loved ones, to travel freely? This is going to impair, I believe, that privilege that we enjoy right now, Garfield.
And that is our concern, Mr. Fede. The citizens, the free movement of citizens that they enjoy right now. And it seems like the government don't care much about the people because, I mean, if they cared about the people, I mean, they would have listened. And these guys, I'm a little upset with them because these guys are acting like they did not get the opportunity. The opportunity was not afforded to them early in this MSR lawsuit to look at the documents, engage the guy, have a conversation. These guys waited. They cursed the Mr. Martinez out, call him all sorts of names, like they do to you and Mr. Chasney. And then they act now like something just fall out of the sky. I mean, if they were concerned about the citizens of the country, they would have been more, I believe, they would have responded a little. Look, Mr. Hilaire comes and try to mess with the cervelle of the citizens of the country, telling them Chasney over 20-something times. You know, this man mentioned Chasney's name as though Mr. Chasney was the government by himself and not the United Workers' Party administration. And so everything Mr. Chasney did, Chasney. Now, he tries to pull Mr. Chasney into the whole DSH deal. And I want us to go away from DHAs. Let's go over to the escrow account. Mr. Hilaire is blaming and there is some. You see, that's the half truth that you get from this government. If you're going to say to the solution people that Alan Chasney opened an escrow account in China, maybe you should just continue with the story and explain to them why the account was open. Was it to hide money? Was it to do money laundering and all these things? Why? Could you explain to us, Mr. Fede?
So my simple response to Hilaire and this escrow account is that if Chasney opened it and you think it is bad, why didn't you close it?
Question.
And I stay silent for emphasis. Why don't you close it? Garfield,
fix it.
if you are the government that is before me and you have had a policy that is so egregious, there's no way I will continue with that a single day. I will make sure that at the earliest possible time that I will remove that policy
I shut that
because it
thing
is so
down.
egregious. So why didn't Hilaire shut it down?
They shut down the airport. They shut down the hospital, the grocery highway.
Correct. So what he's trying to do is to again blow smoke at people. He's trying to confuse people, to make people believe that there is something wrong. I can tell you, and I continue to say to people, that while we were in government, one of my biggest frustrations, Garfield, was how long we took to approve a passport. If you look at the years and you look at how many passports the United Workers' Party did in comparison to the other islands while we were in government, we were taking a lot of licks in terms of the number of passports that were approved. And this is me, in my naivety, didn't understand the level of corruption and fraud that were taking place in the CIP business. But we had two bankers who would take as long as 9 months to approve a passport. There were many customers who were appalled. We received a lot of complaints. Our program, people felt that it was too bureaucratic.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you in hindsight how happy I am that we had a good chairman and we had a very good CEO. That what's instructive, I watched Hilaire speak for 21 minutes and could never ever allege that there was any transaction that was fraudulent under the United Workers' Party government. And that's when you know what your opponent really believe about you.
Yes.
He never ever said it. And that's the most instructive thing that I draw from the speech.
Yes.
You want to blame Chasney for everything. Chasney was the one who brought Galaxy. Chasney did this, Chasney did that. However, not one single finger was pointed. And you know Ernest. I mean, he was there clutching at straws, trying to split hairs. He was trying to make a mounting out of a cockroach. And he was doing his very, very best to try to blame this all on the UWP because he knows that this stinks. He knows that this is wrong. He knows that he's caught and he knows that he's about to be exposed. And his time has now come. He will have to pay for all of his sins, Garfield. This is the same Ernest who told the people of St. Lucia, remember when he was a high commissioner? And you had waken up this morning and we saw in the British press that a Saudi billionaire who was going through divorce proceeding with his wife, he was a holder of a St. Lucian diplomatic passport. I'm talking about the Jafali scandal.
Yep.
Ernest was the high commissioner while that was going on. And Jafali got his passport through the UK office because he became the permanent representative for the International Maritime Organization. And we have to ask ourselves, who facilitated that? Who was in the UK where Jafali lived in London? Who was there? Who was the High Commissioner? Yeah? Who was the High Commissioner where the accountant general put out a bank account, a letter stating that there was a bank account in the High Commission without the necessary approvals. It was an illegally constituted bank account where Hilaire had received at least three checks totaling thousands of pounds that went to him with no explanation on the check stubs. This is the man that we're talking about.
Wait, this is the
is
same guy
man.
who had to give us a diabetic
That
clinic?
was Jafali. That was
Jafali.
Jafali.
Did
And
we
that's
get
why I
it?
don't buy. And that's why, no, we never did. And that's why I don't buy the stories about housing and the stories about community centers and the stories about roads. That's all a pack of nonsense. I mean, if we were in the streets, I would use another word
Yeah,
to describe what I really want to say,
yeah,
but I
that's
want to
just PR
respect your
stuff.
program, bro. But it's real nonsense.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that they have said that gives me any confidence. But Hilaire has been associated with a number of scandals. Yeah, this is the same gentleman who found it necessary to use his position in government to get customs to drop the case regarding a Range Rover. Now, if it is that a particular case in point that you believe that that case has the ability to stain your name and you want to exonerate yourself, Garfield, the best thing you do is that you go through the scrutiny of a trial and allow the merits and demerits of the arguments to show you to be true. But when you're going to say that you drop the case and you go to arbitration, it doesn't mean that you're not guilty, you know.
That's
It
right.
just means that the two sides have come to an understanding, and that understanding is mutually agreed upon. But when a judge now has to make a judgment on a particular case that has been tried, it is a totally different matter. So I believe now that Hilaire is a drowning man clutching at straws. And I watched him. I see the nervousness of the speech. I saw how hard he tried to convince all of us that
Yeah.
nothing was wrong. But he did a terrible job in trying to convince me. And, you know, I'm speaking out on this matter with all of the passion that I can because I understand the gravity of the situation. I look at our brothers and sisters in Dominica and how they now need to go through the arduous task of applying for visas to go to the UK, something all of us enjoyed in the
Yeah.
OECS. I see in St. Kitts where they have lost their visa free access to Canada because of CIP and because of not and taking the international community for granted is the very, very, very wrong and reckless thing to do.
It
The
is.
European Union, Garfield, has just voted and on whether or not CIP or countries with CBI programs, whether now the civil servants in Europe can automatically, without going to Parliament for approval, would now make a decision at the civil service level to quash or to cancel or suspend visa-free
What,
access of
was
those
that voted
citizens.
already?
The vote, I think, should be in a matter of days.
Wow. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed on this vote. But this is something to behold. Let me ask you a question here. As a United Workers' Party leader, Mr. Dominic,
Yeah.
does the United Workers' Party support the CIP program?
Well, we spent 5 years and we would have administered the program. We support a very clean CIP program, one that is well run, one that prioritizes good governance, one that uphold the values. Look at the amount of passports we would have sold. We didn't make this a slush fund. We recognize that there were some merits in using the CIP funds for the overall development of the country. And if you go back and you look at how we spend the CIP funds, you would see that we furnished the Owen King EU Hospital components of the opening of it with the CIP funds, for example. When the banana farmers were in trouble, we actually spent money there to help to recover the banana industry. We had a discipline in the National Economic Fund. We had the civil servants and the National Economic Fund Board, which were made up of representatives from various statutory bodies, from the Ministry of Finance and various government entities and civil society organizations, to make sure that we had a well-run program. One that was divorced of politics, one that went through all of the steps of due diligence, one that didn't try to compete with the other islands in terms of the pace at which we were approving passports, that one that took the time to do the necessary work to ensure that we were protecting the reputation of the country, protecting the reputation of the passports that all of us agreed to. Garfield, while St. Lucians were struggling to get passports, this government was advertising on the internet that people can get passports for as little as 30 days.
Yeah,
They were
that's what
saying from application to approval, you go on the website and it's there. And I don't know if they have taken it down now. So while we were there struggling and they were blaming mold, they were there approving passports so that their friends can make money. This is what this is about. And it is unfortunate that we have found ourselves in this mess, that our country is now being hauled before a lawsuit.
But
To those of you who want to bury your head in the sand and not understand and really take a look at all of the facts and filter this and see from the minister's response to the sketchy information that he's sharing with the public and not taking a very open look to this, I say do so at your peril, because the consequences here are very severe and we can pay very dearly as a country if we do not do something drastic, if there is not a very clear about turn. Garfield, do you know whether by now the government has signed the agreement?
the government said they're not going to sign it because there's some.
No, the Prime Minister came back and said that they have decided to sign. We
wonder
have not
why.
been given a date. We have not been given a timeline. He has just said they have decided to sign. And this is what I'm telling you, that now they're understanding the severity of this matter, that there is beginning now to realize, but this has gone so far. We're now in the US courts. And somebody is going to have to answer questions about money laundering and about fraud.
Wow, because when the Prime Minister made that statement that we will now sign the agreement, I found it strange that just a few days ago you had obligations. You could not have signed the MOA, and all of a sudden there is a MSR RICO lawsuit. Emmanuel goes up to the United States secretly. The government says to us that they were not aware. He did not speak to them. The Minister of CIP was not aware. The government, the Attorney General, no body within the government of St. Lucia knew that their CEO was traveling, Mr. Emmanuel, traveling to Washington to meet with lawyers. None of them knew that. Huh? This is the same government.
And according to them, I mean, could you imagine, Hilaire? Could you imagine how ridiculous the gentleman is for suggesting that the UWP manipulated McLeod? I mean, that says a lot about your judgment. Why would you hire someone?
I would fire both ministers, Hilaire and Emmanuel. Hilaire for making such a foolish statement, and Emmanuel for heading to Washington without legal advice in the country. Because a United Workers' Party lawyer, this is what they're saying, advise you to go. He force you, he malmele your cervelle, and you end up on a plane with your wife heading to Washington. I would fire both of them. They don't deserve to be in government.
But this is what I'm saying to you, Garfield, that Hilaire's address was so ridiculous that I can't believe that he's so barefaced, you know, that he's so shameless that he would actually say that the man that they appointed as the CEO to run our CIP unit, which is a very important unit, you are saying to me that you made such a good choice, but yet this choice that you made is so naive that the United Workers' Party, the opposition party, is able to convince him to do something that he doesn't want to do? Are you having a laugh? I mean, this is the height of desperation of the whole Labour Party government. They know that they are in trouble, and it is based on those kinds of things. Hilaire's non-disclosure of all of the facts
Yeah,
pertaining to the passports and the 7,000 number.
that's right.
B, the assertion that McLeod Emmanuel was manipulated. That's absolute crap. C, the escrow account which they claimed was opened by Alan Shastney, but yet you kept it for 3 years. If
Yeah.
you think it's so bad, why don't you close the account?
Close
Why
it.
don't you say, open out, close the account? Yeah, if you think it is such a bad thing, if you found any fraud, why you never mentioned that on the UWP there was fraud?
But
So
they
there
did
was a
not
lot
expose
of
it, Mr. Fede. They came to the Prime Minister went on HDS, Radio 100, said to St. Lucians he found a Panama account that was hidden in Panama. He found that one, of course. Well, of course, we found out ain't no such thing. Huh?
ain't no such thing.
But the account in China, why? I mean, I don't understand. These guys would have used that account in China if it was a bad thing and tie that around Shastney neck and the United Workers' Party neck. They would have tied that thing around your neck. So why did they not change it?
And so, Garfield, this scandal, it raises more questions than the government has given answers.
Yeah.
And the people of St. Lucia are in the dark. We are tired of the government blaming the leader of the opposition and the United Workers' Party. We are no longer controlling the levers of government in the country. They have the power. They need to stop blaming everyone else and run the country.
They're gonna run
Fix
the
the crime
country.
situation.
Yeah.
Get into good deals. Tell us the truth. We need to know. And so for me, there's so many questions that I don't have the answers to.
And I mean, if you don't have it, then the citizens of the country, they're worst off because at least you are a senator and there's certain information that I'm sure you're privy to. And I mean, first of all, this government, the SLP government, it's the worst I've ever seen. That's the truth. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Trump was bad, but this SLP government, they came in and they told us that with the Fresh Start housing project, there was a big scam, no approval, and we stopped it. It's in the court, and secretly, these guys went into a deal with Fresh Start to do the very same project that they stopped, to go back on the same highway, which I found out that Fresh Start said, look, keep your highway, we don't want it. What changed?
And that is the double standard. That is the hypocrisy of this government, Garfield. One thing when they're in opposition, they win the government, they fool the people, and when they get into government, they become a different government.
It's a different.
They change their tone, they change their skin. But Garfield, I think I want to share with your viewers
Talk to me.
a memo which I've left on the other side of the room. But
You want us to give you some time to get it?
no, it's okay.
Okay, good.
But what the memo actually said, Garfield, and it is dated, and I'm going to read it off my phone. I'm going to send it to you right now on WhatsApp.
Okay.
And I want you, Garfield, if you can put it up or read it to the public, right? And it is very important to see what they're doing with the passport. So just bear with me as I send you this.
No problem.
Um, so I've actually got another memo that they put out in the marketplace about unlawful reduction, but that's a joke. We've been through that. Um, but I'm sending you now a WhatsApp message, and I want you to read this memo, which is dated February 1, 2024. I want you to read it because I think your viewers are going to trust it. I've only just spoken to you about it.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, but it's giving me some issue to open. It said that
It was sent to you on
it's
WhatsApp.
yeah.
You got it?
Yes, I got it on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Let me see. You want to go ahead? I'm going to try to get it over on the main screen so that our viewers
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here we go, Pastor Garfield. So the memo is to authorized agents, promoters, marketing agents. It's from the Citizenship by Investment Unit, and the date is February 1, 2024. It is signed by the CEO, Mr. McLeod Emmanuel, Chief Executive Officer. And the subject is the introduction to the new application forms and investment option. So this memo is dealing with two issues: new application forms and the investment options. It starts and it says this: the St. Lucia Citizenship by Investment Unit is pleased to announce the introduction of its latest application forms and new investment options commencing Monday, 5th February 2024. The new application forms create a simpler and more efficient method of collecting critical applicant data while eliminating redundancies associated with the existing ones. Now, I want to go to paragraph 3, where it talks about the infrastructure. So that was about the application forms.
And that is February 1st, 2024.
February 1st, 2024. Then it says this:
Okay, just bear with us, folks. We're going to get a reset from Mr. Fede. Just bear with us. Okay, so we have a break-in transmission there. Stay with us, folks. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
5 years, every single decision we have taken has been to fertilize prosperity for today and to sow the seeds of progress for our nation 10 years from now. Every budget we delivered, every investment we attracted, every infrastructural project we approved, and those we re-engineered are meant for our children, our future, our St. Lucia. The United Workers' Party. Let's keep working. Oh.
All right, folks, we're still waiting on Brother Dominic there. There was some issues, and we're hoping that it can be resolved quickly. All right, just bear with us. Let me see if I can get the email over so that we can read it together. Bear with us. Let's see if we can get it captured here. Please share the live, folks. Just bear with us. Let's see if this is it. Good. So we have it. I believe we have it on the platform. Let me blow it up. Let me blow it up a bit so that you can see. Let's bring it over. And this is it, friends. This is it. This is what Mr. Fede is speaking about. We will wait for his reconnection. And this is official memorandum, and that is authorized agents, promoters, marketed agents. And this is from the Citizenship by Investment Unit, dated February 1st, 2024. Introduction of new application forms and investment options. Let's see if Mr. Fede is back with us. Bear with me, folks. These are very important matters, and I am hoping that he is back. No, he is still stuck there. Okay, so I'm going to reduce on the reception so that we can get him back in. Okay, so no luck there. So we'll continue to read. It says the St. Lucian Citizenship by Investment Unit, the unit, is pleased to announce the introduction of its latest application forms and new investment options commencing Monday the 5th of February 2024. The new application, okay, good. So Fede is coming on. Brother Fede is coming back on, all right? So it's something that I really want us. Okay, so his device went out on him, so we will read until he comes back in. So February 24th, 2024, the new application forms create a simpler and more efficient method of collecting critical applicants' data while eliminating redundancies associated with the existing ones. The number of forms has been reduced from 8 to 5, while capturing all essential data sorry, I can't see clearly, folks. Let me just blow it up a little more. Bear with me. Okay, bear with me, folks. Let me just blow it up a little. Remember, I'm heavily medicated, so I gotta blow it up a little more. So let me see here. It says, for verification and screening of applicants, authorized agents can anticipate improved efficiency with the introduction of these new forms and an overall enhancement in their current capacity. Just bear with us. Mr. Fede is going to be back. He's going to be back with us, so I have him on the watch list. So let's continue here. It says, titled the infrastructure option. This investment category falls within the existing enterprise project investment as option 3. This latest option offers an expanded option for developers to invest in projects which are towards enhancing the country's infrastructure. Prices begin at US $100,000 for a single applicant and $150 for a family of up to 4 members. So $150 for a family of up to 4 members. Let's see if we can reconnect with Mr. Fede. Folks, oh, he's back. He's back. Yes, sir, you're on.
Yes.
I know.
sorry about that. Sorry about that. So we got cut off because of the technology.
I know.
So where were we? We were reading this
Yes,
scandalous. Did you read it to the infrastructure option?
yes, I did. The infrastructure option,
Okay, so
where it says price begin at US 100,000 for a single applicant and
correct.
150 for a family of up to 4 members.
Right. So if the question I have for you tonight, Garfield, is that if someone is paying 150,000 US and they can have four individuals apply, what is the price per passport? I did the math and it would be $37,500. So our passports, based on that memo, is being sold right now for as low as $35,500. That's what this government is doing.
Wow, wow,
And so
wow,
for me, this is a total disgrace. You
wow.
know, I Walcott, yeah, I quoted Walcott. Walcott was asked once by a journalist, what did he think of a development of a hotel at the foot of the Pitons? And he was talking about the Freedom Bay project. And he said to the journalist, if what you're saying to me is true, then my country is whoring. In other words, Garfield, he was saying that my country is prostituting itself.
Yeah.
Why would the government refuse to sign the agreement with the rest of the Caribbean, which would say that we are at a minimum of $200,000, which is what the agreement with St. Kitts and Grenada and Dominica and Antigua. This is what the agreement says. All of them have now recognized the value of their passports. They've recognized the value of their country. They've recognized the uniqueness of their people. And they've recognized that if you want to become a citizen of those countries, that you pay $200,000 minimum or you don't come. And this government has now reduced St. Lucia to the cheapest program in the Caribbean with this
Wow.
infrastructure program that they has just put in place, allowing individuals to get a passport for as low as $37,500 per
$100.
passport. This is a shame. This
I
is
mean,
this is what this is prostitution.
man, this sounds like a zombie government, man. Wow.
You know, someone said to me that our passports are now on Zobby price, and you know, I I want to say to you that it doesn't make me feel good to hear those kinds of comments coming from people.
No.
But this government has really taken us for a ride. They've really reduced us to the lowest of lows. All the other countries have seen the value of saying, look, this race to the bottom, it's not in anybody's interest. All of us make less money. All of us are now not in control of what is taking place. Let us now clean this up. Let us focus on a program of quality. Let us focus on making sure that the minimum is 200. But St. Lucia wants to allow somebody to get a passport for as low as 37.5.
37. Wow. And
Now, you asked about escrow accounts a while ago, and we don't know whether the infrastructure program, whether for that contract, whether Galaxy is required to put the money in an escrow. But go back to the press release, which Galaxy released. Galaxy said to us that they are a developer and they were collecting monies on behalf of the government. And so this is like a puzzle because had it not been for this lawsuit, none of us would know anything as to who the contractors are.
no,
The
that's
government
right.
just keeps saying they have contracts. But it required a press release from Galaxy for St. Lucians to find out that one of the contractors that their government was talking about is Galaxy. And this lack of information, this is what leads to confusion. This is what leads to speculation. This is what leads to panic and trepidation
Yep.
and fear and all of the very bad emotions associated with this very, very, very terrible scandal. And to see that our passports are prostituted in this way is very, very telling, Garfield.
And
I want
after
to
it's been undersold, my problem personally is that there all the problems with CIP, it is the former administration. All the sins of CIP. Under them, they have the best CIP program going on. Nothing to see here. Galaxy, Chasney. The account in China, Chasney. The reduction in the cost of the passports, Mr. Chasney. I mean, and the people are saying, like, people are asking the question now: is Mr. Chasney in government? Did we hire Mr. Chasney? All those sins, you could have fixed in the first year. Very easy.
Well, when the St. Lucia Labour Party is in power, it's always in style to blame Shas. But you see that memo in front of you, and if you can put it up one more time. Remember, Hilaire said to us that the infrastructure program would have been, he said the infrastructure program was launched in March. You remember
March,
that?
yes.
Yeah. Now look at this memo. In the first sentence, it says that the new investment option commencing Monday, 5th of
5th
February. So you remember I told you that there were people who had sales for this. As early as January, they sold from this. But the minister came, and the information that he has presented is certainly not accurate.
Not at
Because
all.
here is the CIP unit saying one thing, and the minister in a statement says another thing. The other question it arouses, and you mentioned the escrow account, how much money is in the escrow account? When was the last time the government checked? And what was the last figure they saw? Listen, when I go to the bank, I don't know if you're the same way, and I do an ATM pullout, I love my receipts, brother.
That's right.
Yeah? And if you look at my wallet, I have a pile of bank receipts because I don't want to go to the bank, in the future. And then
Yes.
I'm told, well, what you thought you had,
Is
that's
not.
not the figure you have.
That's right.
So we want the minister to know it's very easy to check the bank balance. So for us to have to wait for an audit is disingenuous and dishonest from the minister. The minister is playing games with us and playing games with the people's future and our reputation and our credibility as a country. He must bring some level of frank and full disclosure to this scandal of international proportions.
But let me
And
ask you,
so
why the unit was not reporting on an annual basis? Why were there no
you're asking,
reports?
you're asking the wrong man. But again, when you have 2 financial years of reports outstanding, it says to me, my friend, that something is amiss.
Something is wrong.
Something is amiss. And
Yes.
all of this leads to speculation. You haven't done a financial report in 2 consecutive years. I mean, I can understand if you're a year late, but you're 2 years behind. All of that money going through the CIP unit. Now, if you, as a custodian, a policymaker, is going to oversee a department like CIP, where so much money is going in and coming out, millions of dollars,
Yeah.
why isn't it that you are doing the right thing to make sure that there are proper controls? Why? The prime minister said he's an accountant. He had a company that would do accounting.
Yeah.
People in that business are normally sticklers for controls
Yeah.
and for compliance. What happened to the CIP under the Prime Minister's watch?
No reports.
No reports.
And now they're
No,
being forced to be audited.
they're being forced to be audited.
Forced.
And
Yeah.
I hope it's a forensic audit.
Right.
And I hope that the audit will give us the information that we need to know. So
Guys,
that will be,
because we know, Dominic, that the audit will show us a lot of stuff. We would be able to see whether they're following, the procedures and guidelines. I am suspicious, honestly, as a St. Lucian, that our government hesitated in signing the memorandum of understanding.
we
Hesitated.
know why.
They
Because the
refused to
memorandum
report.
of understanding, Garfield, does not allow them to sell a passport for $37,500.
And it forces them to be audited.
And it forces them to be audited. It forces them to have a joint portal with the
Yeah.
rest of the Caribbean so that anyone can look and see how much is in the portal. Now, there are numbers circulating, and if you talk to any CIP agent, most of them are lawyers, and there are quite a few of them. If you talk to those and you ask them how many applications are on the portal. Now, remember, Martinez claimed in his interview that he was reliably informed by the CEO of McLeod there was a backlog of several thousand files
I
in
think I
St.
heard
Lucia.
that from the government too.
You did?
I think
I've
I
not
heard
heard
something
them
like
say
that.
that.
Huh?
So where is that money going? Where is that money gone, and where is it going?
And I think
what
they were
is that
boasting
money?
that people were rushing for our passports because we have a good product. And because our government is in power, investors are running to the country. And they named a number of projects at that time that the United Workers' Party started. I think I remember something like that. I got to look over my broadcast notes. But the question is, that, Mr. Dominic, is where is the money? Who can account for the money?
Where is the money? How much money is in the escrow account in Hong Kong? How much money is in the escrow account? The minister could have said to us, this is the amount of monies easily.
There, yes,
You know,
that's right.
I get disturbed when I hear certain people who are supporting the government try to dismiss the facts that have been laid. Look, Martinez, he has his problems with St. Kitts and with St. Lucia. Okay? Now, I am interested in how the government responds. And if there is a scandal and someone makes an allegation and you don't deny it, then I'm inclined to believe that person. So until the government comes out and say to me that the allegation that there are 13,000 passports that they have assigned to Galaxy on the two different projects, I am going to continue to believe Martinez because the government has not come out and give a credible debunking
That's right.
of the numbers that
And
have been
they had the
floated
perfect
around.
opportunity to do so.
They had the perfect opportunity and they
Yeah.
squandered it by
Squandered it.
talking about Alan Chastney. Unfortunately, Alan Chastney can't get your name off a lawsuit.
No.
There's no dropping of any case in the US. This is the US federal court, brother.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is serious.
Wow. Wow. And we're finding
It
out
is
that
wow.
the minister's name is going to be added to that lawsuit too. And the minister don't represent his personal business. He represent the government of St. Lucia.
That's
CIP
correct.
program. So
And it's
when
not in the minister's personal capacity.
no.
It is the minister's performance of his duty
That's
and
right.
an obligation that he has to state and to other countries that we are friendly with, that we have signed international treaties with. You don't think the minister knows how much trouble this is?
Yeah.
Look, the most frightening thing I have seen the most severe thing I've seen mentioned is that Martinez saying that he has shared whatever information he has with the U.S. with the U.S. law enforcement
Yeah,
officials.
he did.
And now, if that is true, and if you look at our anti-money laundering laws, there is a lot of alignment with our local laws to the OECD member countries.
Yeah.
So the whole movement to fight white collar crime and fraud is real.
Yeah.
And I am no expert in law, but I am sure that someone who's in the prosecuting business would be very interested in the statement from the minister that all he has done about whenever there are allegations or whenever information emerges that people have broken the law and undersold and undermarketed St. Lucia, that all he did was to write memos. I don't think that that is a strong enough response,
No.
and I don't think that that is legal enough.
No,
And
it's not.
I am no expert in the law, but I would like to hear an expert in law to analyze the legal implications here for St. Lucia. Because Martinez is one thing, and that's a separate thing. But I think that the weeks and months ahead are going to be very interesting. And
Yep.
I am finally happy to see the minister admit in his speech that we can lose our visa-free access. But
Finally.
now what he's trying to do is to blame it on Chasney.
That's right.
But people like myself and Chasney were saying to them as early as 2022, when they were refusing to suspend Russian applications, like all the other countries did. We became the last country in the Caribbean
And-
to suspend Russian
And
applications.
under a lot of pressure from the opposition.
And under a lot of pressure from the opposition.
Yep.
And so the real enemy of the state is not Alan Chasney.
No.
The enemy of the state is the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Because Alan
In the manner
Shastey,
that they have managed,
Alan Shastey
in the
kept
manner-
warning them fellas. He kept warning them. Every sitting, I used to hear this man. Every sitting.
that's right. That's right. And then the minister said at the time that it was unfair
Yeah.
to paint every Russian with a broad brush.
That's
He's
right.
on the record of saying that.
He said we're not
And-
going to discriminate.
That's correct.
While they were discriminating against their own Mr. Alan Shastey, calling him white.
There you go. But they were saying that not all Russians support Vladimir Putin,
Yes.
and
I
that it
remember.
was unfair and it was a very bad position to take. So they have been warned.
Yeah.
They brought back Iranian applications as well.
Yeah.
And the problem with Iran is that many wealthy individuals, many people that are close to the government in Iran have been fingered for supporting terrorism and being sponsors of terrorism, as well as the Iran banking system. There's not enough transparency.
Yeah.
And that has been a significant concern to our diplomatic friends
Yeah.
with whom we rely on for banking relationships, corresponding banking relationships. And so when you do these kinds of deals and you make these kinds of policies, what you do, Garfield, is that you undermine and you make it very terrible for all of us. Now, what I find to be instructive is that the government is now, I think they sense that something is coming.
Yeah.
I think they sense that something is about to happen. And that's why they are preparing St. Lucians for it in their PR. And what they're doing basically is trying to now pivot away from the facts of the CIP and try to position Alan Chasney as the enemy of the state. Because I know that they have got information, they know that somebody is about to pull the plug and something is about to go down.
Yeah.
And instead of them taking the blame, they would like to blame Alan Chasney and the UWP for being in cahoots with or colluding with with other individuals to bring about the troubles that are about to come on them. But I say to them, Garfield, they've got no one else but their own selves to blame.
Yeah, because I think they're paying attention now, and we saw all the PR, like you said earlier, that is happening, that the CIP money is working for you. We're building homes and all the beautiful things that, that CIP should have been doing. Now they're all excited, and the flabbos are the ones who want to see the country fail. Chasney and the United Workers' Party don't like St. Lucia. They're anti-St. Lucia, and so they're trying to mess up the CIP program because they're not in power. And I know you guys well as United. I know my United Workers' Party. The United Workers' Party are considered to be nation builders. The United Workers' Party are the ones who have championed the cause of poor families in this country. It is the United Workers' Party, whether it's a hospital or a school or the water supply, who put that in place for the people. So to come now and say that the United Workers' Party, they don't like St. Lucia, they want to see St. Lucia fail, hello, these are the same people, United Workers' Party people, citizens of St. Lucia, who would need medical visas, who would need free access to travel to United Kingdom. They would want to travel to Canada without any frustration. They would want to get a visa without the extra scrutiny. And that's the problem, Mr. Prime Minister and United and Mr. Hilaire. We are looking out for the people, the United Workers' Party. We're speaking up. I'm not here in pain coming out of a surgery on Friday, and I'm on very heavy medication. I'm not sitting here wasting my time in all this pain because we want to see St. Lucia look bad. Mr. Dominic could have been watching some Western movie, I'm sure, drinking a little shandy or something, enjoying his life. We're here because we understand the implications. We understand. Many of us have traveled. When I travel to the United Kingdom and I travel to other parts of this world, whether it's Nicaragua, wherever it is, I feel good when I can just give them a passport and walk through without being hassled and pulled in the other side. And people watch you suspiciously. Why? Because of a careless government. I say it is time to fire Mr. Hilaire. It is time to fire the CEO, Mr. Emmanuel. It is time for them to go. We got to start cleaning up this country.
And Garfield, you're absolutely right. This is the course of action that needs to be taken. Hilaire needs to go. McLeod needs to go. We need to then make sure that we seize or freeze all of Galaxy's applications, do an investigation to make sure that these applications that are before the board from Galaxy, that these applications are bona fide and they are within the confines of the law. If any of these applications are violating our legislation, then all of us can be in problems. This is serious business, and what is going on is shameful. It's an embarrassment.
It is,
and so I am lost for words as to how this government continues to take the people's business for granted in the manner that they have, how they have prioritized politics over the people's business, putting the politics before the people of St. Lucia. I mean, Hilaire's speech was a protecting the victory speech.
It was.
It was nothing else.
A blame game.
Every interview that Philip J. Perez had is a protecting the victory interview. He has not led as prime minister. He has not come out and show that he's able to lead this country. And that's one of the things lacking now.
That's right. That's right. So is there anything... I don't think we should take calls, Mr. Fede. What do you think? Because I am in a lot of pain.
Yeah, well, I will let you off the hook. I don't know if you want to take one or two.
Okay, let's open the
so
line.
that your viewers don't feel that you didn't give them an opportunity to.
Okay, good. So, folks, the lines are
And
open.
I'm very grateful that you did this now. Wow, it shows a level of commitment and sacrifice.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We are committed to the task in removing this government off of the backs of the people of the country. 929-586-1821 is the number. 929-586. I would have gotten in trouble.
You
Call you on the
you
air,
gotta
Caribbean
say.
American News Media. No, I'm not well. I just had an operation and I should be
Yeah.
resting, but go
Well,
ahead.
get well soon, get well soon. Good evening, Mr. Fede.
Good evening, sir. Are you calling from St. Lucia or
Brother
are you in the
Johnson,
diaspora?
Wait, Mr. Fidesz speaking to you. Where are you calling from?
Canada, man. I can't hear Mr. Fede.
Tell me when you can hear him. Go ahead, Mr. Fidesz.
Oh, you're calling from Canada. Congratulations! I heard you guys just had a phenomenal ball on Saturday.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Go ahead, caller.
Congrats, well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So listening to you guys and reading the letter online, what I noticed is we St. Lucians just need to be very careful how we dissect those information. Because the argument that many people want to make about Mr. Martinez, to me, Mr. Martinez is not that important anymore, you know. It's the information that he let out, Brother Garfield and Mr. Fede,
That's right.
is the most important thing. And that's where we need to stick on the issues. You see, now, talking about Ernest Hilaire, you see, I consider this man of very, very low character. Because when you look at Ernest, his demeanor alone tells you everything about him. And when you are in government, and you are being accused, especially something of that magnitude, why is it you didn't make those numbers or the whatever document public so we can have a look at it ourselves? So you do not want us to take Martinez quote unquote evidence, but we're supposed to take your word. But I want to have a message for Mr. Hilaire. Mr. Hilaire, your words do not mean anything because your action is everything. And throughout the years, your action tell us who you are. So we can't believe your words today. You know, and I think, Mr. Fede, you're doing a great job in keeping that pressure on, because we need to keep the pressure on Ernest Hilaire and his gang. Because it's a cult you're dealing with. You know. But I won't be long. I'll give somebody else a chance, my brother. Have yourself a wonderful and good show as usual.
Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, and what we see, folks, is unaccounted citizenship investment funds, victimization of vendors, secretive port deals, and the list goes on and on and on in the country. GPH, we got to speculate on that one. 929-586-1821. You want to say anything, Dominic, while we wait for another call?
It really is. People are starting to understand what's going on. A lot of business people are still confused. A lot of people in civil society organizations are still confused. And the government, I would blame the government for deliberately trying to confuse the people. Could you imagine that when this scandal broke, they said, oh, we have the best program. Henley and Partners said that we are one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And, we said to them, look, Henley and Partners are salesmen. They are marketing agents. And so they are selling all of these programs. Look at what they said about Grenada. Look at what they said about, and so a salesman is the worst person that you can get an accreditation from for a program that is required to be so highly enforceable.
Yeah.
So you're talking about due diligence, you're talking about background checks on individuals, you're talking about financial impropriety, the potential for it, and you want to rate your program based on a sales institution, not from a due diligence company, not from an organization like the World Bank or the EU, something more credible than Henley and Partners. So for me,
Sorry, Dama. Calling you on the air, Caribbean American News Media.
Good evening, Brother Garfield and Mr. Fede.
Good evening to you.
hello, good evening.
Brother Garfield, get well soon. I hear you not feeling too good tonight.
Thank you, caller.
Okay, I just have a question that maybe Mr. Fede might be able to assist with. With reference to all these passports that are being sold for what we call jumbie prices, are all these people the recipients of these passports, are they able to vote in our upcoming election?
Yes, all rights of citizens of the country. You've become a citizen. That's what it is. They can do anything that you can do.
There's a feedback. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to say this and get off. So, Mr. Fede, there are no clauses within those laws saying that those persons are supposed to be residents in St. Lucia for a period of time before they're able to vote?
They don't even, yes, they have to be residing here, and they can follow the electoral act of the country. And so once they follow our election laws, and they live here for at least 1 year, then they can vote, yes. But to become a citizen, you don't even have to set foot on St. Lucia ever. They FedEx their passports, and it's a very impersonal program.
Because I'm looking at this whole infrastructure side of this, and I'm thinking to myself, what really is in this for St. Lucia that this government would actually go ahead and do this? It seemed like St. Lucia is not really gaining anything from this, but a promise of I will develop XYZ, or I will build roads, or I will help with the infrastructure of your country. However, our passports are being sold at, a rate that it's like you buying bread on sale at the market. This is insane. This is not making sense. The only people I see that are making monies from these are the lawyers processing, the agents processing those passports, etc. But then what is in this for St. Lucia? I will listen to your response off air. I also want to say that, and I've said that on another forum or in other forums, that the governments of the EU, the European Union nations, the US, Canadian government, UK government, we the people of St. Lucia, if you're listening, we the people of St. Lucia are not in agreement with what is going on with our CIP and the way this current government is handling it. And if you are to take any steps towards laying embargoes or whatever it is on the civilians of St. Lucia, I'm asking that it's not done to the people of St. Lucia who are innocent in this. However, that the passports, diplomatic passports, visas, etc., of these people who are directly involved in this and who have made those decisions, that these be taken away and these people be tried in a court of law. And that is where I leave this for tonight. I thank you, gentlemen. I will listen. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, caller. Okay, you want to say
And
anything
this
on
is
that?
important. It's important, Garfield, that all of us advocate in the best interest and well-being of our country. And for me, this is beyond the politics. This is about making sure that our passports, the integrity of it, is upheld. This is about making sure that the privileges that we enjoy now, that we can continue to enjoy those privileges. And this is about making sure that ordinary people of St. Lucia, I mean, hear the cry in that woman's voice. And that to me tells the story.
Caller, you on the air. Carry the Burke News Media platform.
Good evening to you, Brother Garfield, and good evening to my brother Dominic Fady. Good program, very informative program. And I want to say, Brother Garfield, quickly, kudos to you for demonstrating that commitment. You just had a surgery, you had a lot of pain, but it demonstrates again that you're a true patriot, you love your country, St. Lucia, and you brave it to come and give us more information with regards to this whole CIP scandal. Question for Mr. Fade, and it's been asked on Sky FM, which is a very important question, Brother Garfield, to Honorable Dominic Fady. The persons who got citizenship by investment under the CIP program, would they be eligible to vote at our upcoming general election? And if so,
depends on when
what
it's
are the
called
checks and balances as a United Growth Party political organization that we are putting in place to ensure that there is scrutiny and there's fairness insofar as our upcoming general election?
Okay, hold on.
Because we know there are a lot.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Fiddy. Mr. Fiddy wants us to. Go ahead.
Let him finish if he wants to. But
Okay,
what
go
I
ahead.
was saying, yeah.
Yeah, because we know that the electoral office, there's a lot of shenanigans going there. There's not a chief elections officer. The guy was brought in, was on retirement. He came there, was brought in back on a 1-year contract. There's no chief elections officer. He's a consultant to the electoral office. Now we're hearing that some Roman guy is coming, will be the chief elections officer. So we're hearing a lot of shenanigans occurring at the electoral office. And this is why our party, the United Workers' Party, must pay close attention to the electoral office. So that my question is tying in with the whole CIP thing. Those persons who, and I will end there, those persons who got citizenship by investment, are they eligible to vote at the next coming general election? I'm just awaiting your answer. Good program and have a blessed night, guys.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dom.
So it depends on if the CIP or someone who has gained citizenship through the CIP program, whether that individual chooses to live in St. Lucia or not. If that individual decides that they're going to come and reside here, then once they are living here for at least 6 months to a year, that individual can vote in any of the upcoming elections. So it depends on when the elections are called, but there is a requirement for them to be residing in the country for a portion of time in order for them to qualify to be on the voters list.
Okay. Caller, you on the air. Carry the Burke News Media platform. My guest here
good
is
night to you, Pastor.
Honorable Dominic. Greetings to you.
Yeah, good night to Mr. Fide as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
What I
Good night.
can say about this whole thing is that this issue with Mr. Martinez has just, showed us the tip of the iceberg as far as corruption is concerned. We've heard a lot about corruption, corruption, corruption. And then you have to ask yourself, what exactly are we doing to fight the corruption? Is it just that we just mention corruption because we think people will not, be happy about the corruption, but we're doing nothing really to put an end to the corruption? It is really heart wrenching what is happening. Now, there was a lady who just called, the last female caller, who called on the UK and the EU to not level the sanctions against the people. What I can tell this caller is that, in correspondence between the FCDO, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office in the UK, and myself, is that this thing between involving the CCJ, as far as was represented to me, is that the decision for the UK to okay the government going to the CCJ was based on the fact that the government would have represented to them that it was a decision of the government and people of St. Lucia. Now, how many of the people in St. Lucia were really involved in that decision? And these are the things that happen on our behalf, and we know nothing about it. We do nothing when we find out, and so it just keeps on going like a revolving door. So people really need to get serious about their business. When you have elected officials to represent you, that does not mean that they have, unlimited power to act on your behalf. They still are required to consult. Democracy really is about consultation. You lead, but you must consult the people on matters, issues that are very important to them. But we don't seem to see that happening here, and we need to raise our voices against those things. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Thank you so much. Caller makes a lot of sense there. We need to consult.
I know that voice. I know that voice very well. I will not identify the person.
Yes.
But we've had many conversations about those exact matters. I want to say to him, though, that in this instance, this is the scandal of our entire existence as a country.
Yeah.
This one threatens to rock the very foundations of our country. And the allegations that are being made are very damning, and the government's response is very vacuous. It is more political than factual, and that worries me that there is a very strong possibility that some of the allegations that have been leveled against our administration as it pertains to the running of the CIP program are looking to be in fact true. And that is based on how the government has responded so far. That is the government's own PR, the government trying to deflect, the government trying to change the conversation and the narrative. And we have to remain focused. We have to make sure that we continue to advocate. Garfield is doing his part, more than he should be doing by being here tonight and being ill. And we must continue to raise our collective voices so that this matter can be heard in the corridors that it needs to be heard.
All right. Thank you so much, Dominic. I believe
I'm mindful of your generosity.
Thank you.
So I know you're very ill. So I don't know whether you want to continue or you want to stop here, but I leave it to your discretion.
Yeah, I will have to stop because I was advised not to sit.
To take it easy.
Not to sit for long. And
Right.
I think, my doctor will have a problem with me. So I want to thank you, Dominic, for being here with us, Honorable Fede. And thank you for the work that you do I admire your courage, your stick-to-itiveness in the matter. I know you love the country and you want well for St. Lucia. You're not doing this so that you can rejoice and point at the St. Lucia Labour Party. You know, if they can do well, then all will do well. But at this time, it is bad news for the country. Our government is stubborn. They're not willing to listen. They are stuck in gear on preserving the victory and not protecting the citizens of St. Lucia. And I'm sure we'll be back here on this platform very soon from now to break news because of the stubbornness of this St. Lucia Labour Party. And so I ask our viewers, don't be distracted with propaganda and all the glittering fake stuff that are out there. Listen to us with the information that we're giving you, the United Workers' Party. This platform, friends, we're not bluffing you. We're not misleading you. And when we make mistakes in our information, we will make the corrections. But for now, all I can say from my end, I have spoken to Mr. Martinez. As a matter of fact, I would publicly say to my listeners and to the world that I made a request of Mr. Martinez to review the evidence that he have in Washington. I was willing to travel over there to Washington, but I understand I don't want to jeopardize the case or to put him in any problems, and so I decided not to go over there. So I don't want you to think that the United Workers' Party, they're in collude or they're in some arrangement with Mr. Martinez and they're trying to bring down St. Lucia. How can the UWP want to bring St. Lucia down when they're going to be the government? They're going to be the ones leading the country. They will be the ones having to clean up the CIP program, clean up most of the disasters that are out there, whether it's the hospital, the medical system, or our infrastructures. They got to repair it. So I am saying you got to trust your party. Trust the executive with the work that they're doing. Get involved if you're not involved. You cannot stay on the sideline and hide behind us. And all you do is cuss each other off and spread all kind of nastiness. Get involved. Get your foot on the ground. Get your boots and walk through your neighborhoods. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your families. And let them know that it is time for a change. Dominic, closing remarks.
For a man who's sick, you've certainly got a lot of energy. I want to thank you for your very own commitment, Garfield, and thanks to your callers, very intelligent calls that we've received tonight. I can hear the trepidation in their voices, and they have all the right to be very concerned about this matter. I represented a constituency that a lot of people travel to Martinique for medical treatment in particular. Wow. And we're talking dozens of people who can't afford our local healthcare system or who can't get the treatment that they require. In some instances, very complicated surgeries are required to save lives. And this is what's at stake. These people today don't need a visa. They jump on the Express des Îles ferry and they go to Martinique with ease for just about $300 EC. Just imagine now the hassle of a visa, application fees, while you are sick, while you or a loved one need to make that emergency trip. Just imagine those of you who buy stuff on the popular shipping companies here, such as Westech and Shopbox, and all those online shopping you do via Shein and H&M and Zara and Amazon. Just imagine that our banking system was completely shut out from the global banking system and we weren't allowed to enjoy those conveniences anymore. Just imagine where you would be and where we would be as a country. We are asking the government to clean up our CIP program. We're asking our government to come forward with information regarding our CIP program. Please give us the frank and full disclosure. Let us know whether the allegations that are being bandied around, whether these allegations are true or not. Enough of the politics. Let's, for once, stop blaming Alan Chasney and focus on the development and the people's needs of the country. I want to thank you again, Garfield.
And thank you so much, Brother Dominic, for being here with us, Senator Dominic, and to all our St. Lucians, our viewers from around the world. Thank you for your time with us on the platform. We look forward to another show. I believe we'll be live tomorrow on the GVD TV platform. And so remember, friends, whatever you see, all the good that you see in the country, don't mind them fellas, is Alan do this, Alan do that, you don't know.
If the man go on a holiday up in Toronto, oi, oi. Next day is big news on TV and radio, oi, oi. Yeah! To remain in the limelight, that is what he's looking for. To be most popular is a Pakatan, last pali about a land. Is a land to this, and a land to that. Is a land to this. That man say is smart. That is his strategy.